Tony, why don't you begin with the sky report?
Okay. A lot of the action in the sky in the early evening will have to do with Venus and Mercury. Now, Venus just became visible. Maybe you've seen it shortly after sunset in the southwest. It's a very bright white object, and it'll get up higher and easier to see. Rapidly approaching it is Mercury. So tomorrow night, if you look, actually the 5th, Mercury and Venus will only be about 3 degrees from each other, or if you have binoculars, they'll both fit in the same field of view. Now, throughout January, Mercury will appear to the lower right of Venus, but it will get closer. So here it is on the 5th, and on the 10th, they'll be at their very closest, less than a degree apart from one another. So that's what we call a conjunction. And then Mercury begins moving back down towards the sun. But just before it disappears, on the 21st, the two planets will be joined by the thin crescent moon. So it'll make a beautiful triangle. Now, if we go, next slide, please. This is actually on the 19th. So here we've backed up a couple days. But this isn't so much to show Venus and Mercury. But if we look up above Venus, you'll see another object. And that's planet Mars. Mars has been visible in the southwest for months and will remain so until about March. It doesn't move very much right now. But what's interesting on the 19th is if you aim a telescope at Mars, well, Mars isn't going to look like a lot. It's on the far side of the sun. But it will be lined up with an even farther planet, Neptune. And Neptune's usually kind of hard to find, especially if you don't know exactly where to look. So Mars will help you. It's not ideal because the sky will be a little bit bright, but if you use a telescope at about 100 power, we go to the next image, Mars will be the orange little planet, and on the other side of your field of view will be a dot about half as big, and that'll be blue Neptune. In reality, Neptune is about roughly 10 times as wide as Mars, or 5 times as wide as the Earth. But it's also about 3 billion miles away and roughly 10 times as far away as Mars. Okay, and then almost all night long we can see Jupiter. Jupiter's visible rising in the east. Currently by 8 o'clock you can see it, but by the end of the month it'll be almost in the sky all night long. And this is a picture taken just yesterday from an amateur in Europe. And we see the great red spot and the dark belts, so atmospheric features. These can be seen in just about any telescope, say if you can get above about 20 power or so. Also visible are Jupiter's 4 largest moons that Galileo discovered back in 1609. We can go to the next image. These are performing some interesting things this year because of the plane at which they orbit at, and every 6 years we go through the orbital plane of the moons, and as a result the moons can appear to go across one another. This is what we call an occultation. Also their shadows can pass one over another, and that's an eclipse of moons. So not only can you see these on the face of Jupiter sometimes, but we can also see them on each other. And if we go to the next image, this is a sequence of an occultation. So we're seeing one moon pass right in front of another one. The other event would be an eclipse where you would see a dark shadow of one moon fall on another. Those can be exciting because in the space of a few minutes you can see 2 moons side by side, and suddenly one of them drops in light and then comes back to full brightness pretty quickly. So it's kind of rare to see something happen fast in an eyepiece when you're looking across the solar system, but these mutual events of Jupiter's moons are such a thing. I'm mentioning individual ones that are coming up in the sky report, and I intend to put a table of all the ones visible from this region soon, and I'll announce on the sky report online when that's available.
And also on his Twitter feed.
On my Twitter feed too, yes. Right, and then there's a beautiful comet in the sky right now too. This is a comet Lovejoy, and I don't know if I remember the number correctly. It's like C2014, I think, U, or I don't remember. I'll just go on record, I don't remember the catalog number of this comet, but it is another comet Lovejoy, and at least I can pronounce its name. This comet has been visible for several months in the southern hemisphere, but now it's moved into our sky, and just as it did so, it suddenly and unexpectedly brightened a great deal, and it still is brightening very rapidly. So this is an image taken about a week ago by Gerald Reinman, is a European amateur, but he either travels to Africa or rents a telescope in Africa to take his pictures, but he does beautiful photography of the comets. And we can go to the next one. At our star party here in light-polluted Los Angeles, and in spite of a bright moon, our theater technician David Nakamoto, also a longtime member of the LA Astronomical Society, got this image of Comet Lovejoy from our front lawn during the star party. This is a telephoto one shot a couple days ago, and here you see the comet. Here's the bottom of Orion, the belt of Orion. This is very much what it looks like through binoculars. So I was able to see the comet through 7x50 binoculars from Pasadena, even through some thin clouds. So it's not too hard to see. And when the moon goes away, we'll definitely have it as a public object here.
Yeah, I saw it through binoculars just down in Silver Lake last night.
Yeah.
Well, this morning, 1 a.m.
And people, by the way, we are showing it occasionally here as it comes out. It's not the most it's not the easiest to see object outright at the moment, but in about 10 days or so, it'll be at its brightest in a moon-free sky and nearly overhead. And this is, it's moving sort of perpendicular to the way the planets orbit around the sun, so that's why it's moving north in our sky. This is where it will be in about 10 days when it crosses the ecliptic and at its closest point to the sun at perihelion. And it's out about the distance of Mars, so it's not really coming very close to us. But you can see it will move into our visibility even more so, moves up into the northern sky. And I think I have one last image. This is just the path it will take. Currently, you can find it down here near Lepus the Rabbit, near the feet of Orion. And it will move up through Taurus and into Perseus, which really puts it very, very high in the sky early in the evening, later in January.